Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon. Nothing gets me more excited than a draft day trade for a veteran NFL player, Perna. That's a lie. Sex gets me more excited. Sunday's Game of Thrones featuring the longest battle scene in TV or film history gets me more excited. Hell, Taco Night gets me more excited. But this year, we might see more key players traded in the first round of the draft than ever before. 2 being former first and second round QBs. So today I want to talk about 5 big name players that might be traded in the first or second round of the NFL draft and rank the likelihood of such trades. That's good sports. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I would like that a lot. And have a friend subscribe too. Let's start with the 5th most likely trade in cornerback from Arizona, Patrick Peterson. Now, PP, as he likes to be called, was rumored to the Chiefs yesterday, and that turned out to be false. But the truth was, the Chiefs were indeed going to make a trade. Former wide receiver Antonio Bryant said the Cardinals were going to move Patrick Peterson, which set off a firestorm of confusion on Twitter. Pro Football Talk summarized the chaos with their pinned tweet. Antonio Bryant said, Patrick Peterson to the Chiefs. 2. We were told reliably that there's no trade with the Chiefs. 3. Another source suggesting something is going on. 5. The same source said 15 minutes later, nothing is happening. I may have messed up the numbers there, but you know what they say. Where there's smoke, there's a recently hit bong. Well, that's what we say in Colorado anyway. The smoke I'm referring to was Patrick Peterson on social media after the trade rumors started to circulate. He posted this weird message on Instagram. My boys told me, watch out for the snakes in the long grass. Which if you live in Arizona, with a shit ton of snakes, is just sound advice for when you go outside. Peterson also deleted his bio, which used to read, all for the Arizona Cardinals, proud member of the hashtag Bird Gang. Probably realized though that even a bird gang is not a gang you should be endorsing. Just like when a prostitute says you're the best she's ever had, everything is a lie during draft week. However, Pro Football Talk thinks Peterson is done in Arizona. Other sources have said he's angry, but that nothing is going to happen because of it, and they'll work it out. Personally, I just think he's done with Southwest Airlines. Not sure why he wouldn't give his mom money to fly first class, but that's a separate issue. Maybe the Broncos and Cardinals just swap unhappy corners and call it a day. If not, the Raiders and the Cowboys bloggers are ready for Peterson to boost their secondary with draft day trades. The 4th most likely draft day traded player is Jadeveon Clowney. I'm not sure why you would ever trade a player like Jadeveon Clowney. He and JJ Watt are a dynamic duo. They really make that phrase something and not a cliche. They are 2 top 10 edge defenders. And what makes them special, being on the same line, is that they are both excellent against the run while also being far different players. Clowney is a complete player just coming into his own right now, and like say Von Miller, he can even drop into coverage when needed because of his athleticism. The problem may be his contract. The Texans placed the franchise tag on him and may be hitting a roadblock in terms of what a new deal should look like. A team that is unpredictable, has the firepower, and needs a pass rusher is the Oakland Raiders. They're going to be linked to basically every draft day trade proposal at this point. They could give up both of their first round picks, their late picks for Clowney to satisfy the Texans, even though Texans are never truly satisfied. Am I right, Texas? But even that is a stretch, as Oakland will have an abundance of edge rushing options at pick number 4 if that is their biggest need, which it is. Don't count out the Colts, who were rumored to Frank Clark before the Chiefs took him. They have the money and need at the position as well to acquire him, and even 2 second-round picks to play with draft stock that Houston could be seeking for a player of Clowney's caliber. Houston has 2 years left on the friendly Deshaun Watson deal, which makes me think they will keep Clowney in that time frame, even if they have to tag him back-to-back years. The 3rd most likely draft day traded player is quarterback Derek Carr. It's crazy to me to think that a guy like Derek Carr would be traded. Then again, what gets traded in more than cars? He had a great 2015 and 2016 season before the Raiders absolutely blew up their entire organization, as is tradition every couple years in Oakland. When it comes to the Raiders, no one knows what they're going to do, especially the Raiders. They sent home their entire scouting department because they're worried someone is going to blow the whistle, or because nobody was cleaning up in the break room. Mike Mayock doesn't even trust his family with these secrets, so he's taking his draft binder into the bathroom, possibly using it as a backup in case he runs out of toilet paper. The Raiders front office wiping their ass with plans for the next season is an on-the-nose metaphor. All signs point to the Raiders, though, taking an outlandish pick. Maybe Murray if he gets by Arizona. Maybe Dwayne Haskins at 4, who will definitely be there. Maybe they appease the ghost of Al Davis by reaching for DK Metcalf. Who knows? It's the fucking Raiders. But we do know that if they were to take a quarterback, that would spell the end of Derek Carr in Oakland and mean that he would be on the trading block. And I'm not sure where they would be able to send him. Miami? I guess whoever ends up without a quarterback after the first round, but it feels like whichever team wants a quarterback in the first round will be able to get one. Maybe Oakland trades Derek Carr to the Patriots for Tom Brady, and we can finally see how Brady performs in a shitstorm of an organization. Well outside of his comfort zone of performing in a come-hurricane culture created by Robert Kraft. Final guess for Carr, any team in Florida not named the Jaguars. The number 2 most likely traded player, Josh Rosen of the Cardinals. At this point, it just feels like Josh Rosen is done in Arizona. The one person saying they won't take Kyler Murray is, again, Antonio Bryant. If I learned anything, it's that Bryant is the snake in the grass of NFL news leaks on Twitter. Josh Rosen may have been one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL last year, but he was the second best Josh quarterback. Worse than Josh Allen, but better than Josh McCown and Josh Johnson. Statistically speaking, the only reason Josh Allen was better was because he rushed for 631 yards and 8 touchdowns. The only time Rosen ran was to hustle back to the sideline on 4th down, which did total well over 2,000 rushing yards for the QB and his terrible offense. I get why the Cardinals would take Kyler Murray, and why they would try and trade Josh Rosen. The problem is Rosen had a poor showing behind the worst line in the league with no receiving weapons and inconsistent play from running back David Johnson. Trying to figure out if he can be a good NFL quarterback at this point is like trying to understand whether or not you were comfortable with the Arya sex scene in Game of Thrones. Sports Illustrated recently asked Josh Rosen about this whole will they or won't they trade saga.
I think when people talk about like you can't listen to criticism or don't ever read articles, like you have to be aware of what's going on to a certain extent. So like I definitely understand the situation. I mean, it's annoying, but like it is what it is. Football is a business, and I definitely respect the higher ups and their decisions. Like we won 3 games, and each one of those wins, to me, it felt like we won the Super Bowl. And like that feeling is so intoxicating, and that's why I just want nothing more than to be a part of a team next year and have the same opportunities to go out and compete. I think like the best advice I've ever gotten in life from so many different people is control what you can control, and whatever decisions are made, it's my duty to prove them right if they keep me and prove them wrong if they ship me off.
I'm not even going to try and guess where Josh Rosen goes at this point, outside of maybe the Giants, because I honestly don't know of any information that I have heard that has linked Josh Rosen to a team that is high on him. It is a guess, but a very, very big possibility. Now, Chris Harris Jr. would have been number 1 on this list, number 1 or number 2, but I already did a full Chris Harris Jr. episode, so I want to talk about somebody different. And swooping in to steal the number 1 spot for most likely traded player is kicker Robbie Gould. Who would have thought that the most dramatic pre-draft trade request would come from a 36-year-old kicker? After the 49ers placed the franchise tag on Gould, he decided he wasn't going to negotiate with them and decided he wants to be traded. Not great news for the 49ers, considering Gould was one of the best kickers in the NFL last year, hitting 33 of his 34 attempts. I think it's a no-brainer for teams without a reliable kicker, which, judging by last year, is most of the kickers out there. If I'm the Bears, I would offer multiple firsts and possibly Khalil Mack to get Gould back. That's how good he is. Who the Bears let go for some reason after the 2015 season. They already have 3 kickers on the roster though, none of whom are named Cody Parkey, and Gould would be a massive upgrade over all of them. Let us not forget that currently they are resting their hopes on an AAF kicker and a kicker who is named Chris Blewett. Other teams that could use an upgraded kicker would be the Browns, the Buccaneers as usual, the Cardinals, the Raiders, and probably the Bengals. There will be a market for Gould, and I could see him going for a 5th or 6th round pick, which seems worth it for 90% plus kicking. He wants to play in Chicago, so we could see a crazy 3-team trade situation involving kickers, punters, long snappers, and parking spots that would confuse even NBA trade experts. And those are your most likely guys to be traded during the draft. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, at Brandon Perna, and give my writing partner, at WillKey6, a follow on Twitter as well. He is a guy that I respect and helps me a lot with writing here about football.